Hello Trade Beta users. In this brief video I will show the basic characteristics of our database and how to use it. This will be somewhat manual, so let's start. The first thing I want to show you is our fields. We have a lot of fields in this database, as you probably already know, and most of them are just straightforward, such as symbol, common stock, rating, S&P, nominal yield, strip price, stock type, etc. The ones that are of interest and that we made sure are precise are first possible code date. This is the FPCG. This is actually if the code date has passed, we just add 1 month from today, because the usual way to redeem a stock is to give a 1 month period to announce it. So this is actually what this field means. The next interesting field is U2CO. Here we have made sure that we use the most accurate calculation. We are taking all the payment dates with the cash flow amount, and we calculate the U2CO based on these cash flows. U2Maturity is the same way. So you will see in our database U2CO, U2Maturity, and you will also see U2CO pay date, U2Maturity pay date. This is the Excel way of calculating Qt, and it's not as accurate as the U2CO we are using. You can see that there is a slight difference. Let's just show you. Here is the U2CO and U2CO pay date. If we just here is the difference. At times it seems very small, but there are cases in which the ut function does not calculate accurately because of the difference between ex-dividend date and payment date, and it adds one more dividend on it, doesn't add the dividend that has to be added. So in some cases there is a large difference between the two calculations. We have made sure that we include all the dividends that have to be included in the U2CO calculation, and we really hope that there are no mistakes. So this is one interesting feature. Another interesting feature that we have is the next dividend calculated. As you know, not always you have the official next dividend date, because it takes time for the company to announce it, and we don't wait for them to announce it. We just calculate it. Of course, this is not the exact date, the exact ex-dividend date that you can expect, but it is a very precise assumption. We also have the pay dates here, and this would be the next pay date. And those are a lot of fields. I also get lost sometimes. So this is all about the fields. The important thing here is how you can filter them. The process is quite simple. Let's say that you want to see all the stocks that have negative U2CO. You just go, say less than 0, and here you can see that you have all the stocks that have negative U2CO. Let's say that you want all the stocks that have U2CO higher than 4%. You just go and press higher than 0.04, which is the equivalent of 4%, and here you see these are all the stocks in our database that have U2CO higher than 4%, and you can filter this another way. Let's say you want the BBB rated ones. You just go there and say BBB, and those are all the stocks. If you want to go one step further, you just go and say I want the current yield to be higher than 6%. And these would be all the ones that have current yield higher than 6% and U2CO higher than 4%. What is very useful to do here is to go under specific and say not equals quote. This has to be done because once a stock is redeemed, this ruins the calculation of U2CO, and it's a mess. So in all the default layouts I have removed the cold ones. We decided not to remove them from the database, so one could get an impression of what is being redeemed currently. So this is how you use the filters. You can do almost anything with these fields. Another thing I want to show, which may seem very simple but is very important. Let me just go back to the default layouts. How to make your layout. The first thing you want to decide is what columns you want to see on the visible part of your screen. So you would basically have to move the columns to the end, because there is no way to delete a column. For example, you don't want to see if the stock is cumulative, you don't want to see this, you just go and move it somewhere to the back, let's say here. But you want to see the dividend amount per period, so you just move this here, and now this is the way you see your columns. So once you are done with what you want to see and all the filters you want to see, you just go here and press Save Layout, add a name to the layout, default 5, you just press OK, and now the layout is supposed to be somewhere here. Here it is, default 5, and once you click on this layout, it will show the data in the way you choose. Here it is. Hop, the dividend amount just showed up here. So this is how you arrange your layout and how you filter the columns. The next thing I want to show you is how to use the chart tools here. This is a very important part of the database. For example, you are interested in BBB rated preferred stocks. You just go, say BBB. You want to see stocks that have a U2CO higher than 0.045, which will be 4. Which will be higher than 4.5%. You want, let's say, years to go to be higher than 3 years. you want this stock not to be redeemed in the next 3 years. You want current yield higher than 5.5%. And you also want this one to be qualified. Go to qualified, click yes, and you are not left with a lot of choice. Oh, and if you add that the stock is not redeemed, you have just 4 stocks that match this criteria. And let's say that you want to see them on a chart, in a bubble chart, and you want to see the current yield stripped on the x-axis and the yield to call on the y-axis, and you want to see the symbols. You just go label by symbol. So those are the 4 stocks that match the criteria. And 4 stocks is not a big enough database to choose for, so we will lighten up a little the criteria. Let's say that we want the current yield to be higher than just 4%. And some stocks are showing up. Let's lighten a little bit further, 3%. And you see some more stocks coming here. Let's say that the current yield has to be higher than 5.20%. And now more stocks are showing up. So if, for example, you're interested in BBB rated preferred stocks that have yield to call higher than 3% and current yield higher than 5%, this is the way to look at them. And if you want to use this layout in the future and make sure that if a stock enters this group, you see it, you just go, save the layout and give it a name so you can find it later. And you know that just by one click you will see all the stocks that are of interest to you. To help you a little bit with these layouts, I decided to make some default layouts that I use and that I think are very representative for the preferred stock and baby bond universe. I have made about, let's see, 30 layouts I have made, and I pretty much believe this is all you need to know about preferred stocks and baby bonds. We have almost everything here. Call risk, fixed rate, years to call less than 0, yield to call negative, term preferred stocks with yield to call higher than 0, qualified, BBB rated, current yield higher than 5.5%, yield to call higher than 4%. Let's just press here. These are the ones. And ENHC has to be removed because it's already redeemed. I will fix that. For example, you want to see the ex-dividend dates this month. You just go here, and these are the dates that we have stocks with ex-dividend dates. If you want to see these ones, you just go here and those are the ones. If you want to see the recent IPOs, for example, IPOs by nominal yield from August the 1st, you just go here, and those are all the IPOs that have entered the market recently. You would see that IIPRA does not have a column in the chart. This is because we still have not received data, we don't have the price for it, and all calculations are frozen until we receive an actual price from the primary exchange. So this one will show up here once we receive an actual price from a primary exchange. So this is a very useful tool. The default layouts that I have constructed personally, I use them every day, and we're working with the programmers to make all of these layouts public, so you can also use them. For example, you want to see all the M-rate prefers that are fixed rate, you just press here, and here they are. You want to see the fixed to floating, qualified, yield curve. These are all the fixed to floating preferred stocks that have qualified dividends with their yield to call and years to call. The assumption here is that there are very possible calls because they trade way above par, and most of them are expected to be redeemed. This is the yield to worst assumption. Nothing new to finance. So basically this is the database and how it works. I hope this is helpful, and if you have any further question, please write in the comments below the article, and enjoy the database.